The Aggressor by Colossale. Despite all of my efforts for decades, the newest reality has arrived recently. No matter what methods one tries just short of aggression, the aggressors seem to win by the bulldozer method. Usually they're fueled by impulse and a hyper output of cortisol and adrenaline. These aggressors are chemically drenched, thoughtless perpetrators. Social non-acceptance fuels their motives, as they most likely spent a lifetime living on negative attention. Better than none at all. Despite laws, soul, spirit, right and wrong, and a host of other concepts which help with our decision-making, the aggressor cannot fit into the acceptable social practice and resorts to problem-solving on their terms. Society is a burden to them, so they navigate with little concern for anyone. Empathy is far removed, usually because the aggressor probably alters his or her state with substances to find relief from the paranoid and fear-filled outlook they live in. For males, it's best to allow them to think they are controlling the situation. This is all they want. Their attack is a loss of control, so to make them feel they have control is an art in itself. For the female aggressor, it's best to allow them to control the relationship. That's more vital to them than anything. Controlling relationships is the goal of the female aggressor. But they both have one thing in common. They are very, very, very afraid, more often than most. To help them with affection and patience isn't something I'd recommend unless you can endure being targeted. Their emotions aren't always investigated, nor have they lived a life that allows them to practice safely the positive risks like love, friendship, investments, teamwork, etc. Forgiveness of their attacks is our final destination, but protection during their often manic state is crucial. Never, ever, ever assume a violent aggressor has the capacity to acknowledge, understand, or can empathize with you or your surroundings. They cannot. They absolutely cannot, even if they string you along for a while. The lesson they aren't ready to come to terms with happens at the end of their life. I've witnessed firsthand for 10 years what life does to the person who destroys others in their youth. And let me tell you, it's a living hell. The worst fate comes for the reason they attack. Their self-hate is so profound, and their fear of abandonment is so scary, they actually coerce relationships into place, and that's their version of stability. The adrenaline eventually drains, and the relationships crumble that were once built on control. And with age comes decreased strength, decreased beauty, way less vocal power, and a total decrease in overall power. The last 20 to 30 years of life, it comes down heavy on them, and that's the social rule. Name one tyrant who lived a long and fruitful life. Society handles it in the end, which ironically is the fear they started with, non-acceptance. Instead of the curious, humble, courageous approach, they choose to overpower and control. It's really sad, and enough to learn to forgive them, help them, encourage them to help themselves. But this is not to ever be done by a child or a novice. You must be a pro. We may not win the battle, but we always win the war. Watch them slowly die.